firefighters use friction to control how fast they fall. It's fun!
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Science rules.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Inertia is a property of matter.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
T minus 7 seconds.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Brought to you by rubbing. Try rubbing something today.
Almost slipped and fell there. See, it's friction that makes your feet stick to the floor. And it's friction that makes your fingers stick to these buttons. And when we make friction smaller, we can make the door slide open easily in its track. Slide open easily in its track. Yeah. See, friction is the force we feel whenever things are rubbing on each other. It's friction that makes this wooden box sort of stick to this table, so it's hard to push, but then it gets easy when it's rolling on these hard metal rollers. It's friction that lets you stand like this, see? My feet are sticking to the floor. If my feet weren't sticking to the floor so well, I couldn't do this. Phew. Take a look at this. It's our friction ramp of science. And it's a little bit tilted, see? Now up here is a triangular weight. Well, gravity is pulling it straight down, but it's not sliding down the ramp. What's holding it there is the force of friction pushing this way. Now watch what happens when we make the ramp steeper. The weight's the same, but the force between the ramp and the weight gets smaller and smaller. And then it slides downhill. It slides downhill. See, the harder things are rubbing together, the more friction there is. Now watch what happens when I push it back. I'll do it a few times. Hard work. Now, I've been working pretty hard, but the weight hasn't gone anywhere. What happened to all that energy, all that work I did? Well, if you feel the ramp, it's a little bit warm. Friction turned that work into heat. It happens every time. See, friction is everywhere. Friction is what slows your comb down as you pull it through your hair. Friction is what keeps your bicycle from sliding out from under you as you go around a corner. And friction is what keeps your shoelaces tied. Friction is what holds all knots together, see? Even this one down here.
No, not that one, Bill.
Dog's gonna, I can take it.
It's time for Science Friction Theater.
Fools! They laughed at me. All because I resisted the idea of resistance. But now they'll pay. I've devised an experiment that will beat friction.
But, Dr. Demeter, nothing can beat friction. It slows down moving things and changes motion energy into heat.
Shut up, you fool. That's true on Earth, but in space, there is no friction.
Actually, there is a bit of friction, some gas molecules and gravity.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Well, just the same.
Do you have a candy?
Now, friction is a force that's created whenever things rub on each other. Now, take a look at your skin. Feel it. Feels pretty smooth, right? But if you go like this, your fingers get warm. The energy of rubbing is being changed to the energy of heat by friction. Look at your fingerprints up close. See those rough ridges? It's your fingerprints that let you hold on to smooth things or pick up small, slippery things like coins. In fact, the edges of coins have roughness on them too for the same reason you have fingerprints. Isn't that cool?
Oh, I'll get that.
So it's friction and fingerprints that make your fingers get warm when you rub them together. Ah, it's heat, see?
Have you ever seen a hovercraft? Well, it's this big boat that pushes air underneath it so that it floats on the water. There's less friction, so it really cruises. You can make your own hovercraft of science. All you need is a piece of corrugated cardboard and a plastic bottle cap. Cut your cardboard into a circle and smooth the edges. Then glue the cap into the middle of the cardboard and let it dry, so it looks like this. Then get an adult to poke a hole through the top of the cap to the middle of the cardboard. It'll look something like this when you're done. Now blow up a balloon and twist the end and put it over the top of the cap. Now put it on a smooth surface and give it a push. It floats or hovers. A hovercraft. Friction is science.
We'll be right back with more friction after this break. We're back.
Friction is a force you can feel with your feet. That's why a lot of times you wear special shoes. See, on your feet. Shoes, on your feet. Ha! 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 When people play sports, a lot of times they wear spikes or cleats on their shoes. And that way, they get more friction with the ground. You see, the spikes or the cleats make the shoes have a very rough bottom, so they stick to the ground better, make it easier to stop or go! Is it safe? See, here's the situation where you don't want too much friction. You want just the right amount. I think I was safe. See, basketball shoes are made of rubber. And rubber has a lot of friction when it's going against hardwood. It's friction that lets you do stuff like this. See, skates slide because they make a layer of liquid water between the metal blade and the ice. So you're really sliding on liquid. It's like a layer of molecule-sized ball bearings, and there's very little friction. So the soles of skis are made slippery so that they'll have less friction when you're on snow or carpet. Whoa. Your leather shoes help you control friction on the dance floor. They're smooth, but they stick just a little.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Basically, the trick to barefooting is minimizing the friction so you can glide over the water better.
Because of the energy and the friction of the water, your foot will start to burn. If you fall face first, it hurts a lot. But usually if you just let go and you fall, it's not nearly as bad because the water feels a whole lot softer.
Barefoot water skiing is the greatest sport I've ever done.
This is a fire stick. It uses friction to get things hot. We're using this bow with the leather thong to make this dowel spin. The spinning dowel makes friction with a piece of wood. And that friction is hot enough to start a fire. In a few minutes, I'll have a roaring fire.
Here you go, Bill.
Hey, that's cheating!
All right, suit yourself.
Imagine, if you will, a world without friction. A world where cars and trucks would move easily. But brakes would be useless. world without friction would be dangerous.
See, on skis, what you want to do is control friction. The bottom of the ski, the sole of the ski, is smooth and slippery. As it slides over the snow, a thin layer of water forms, and that's what lets you scoot along. Excuse me. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Consider, if you will, a world without friction. A world where objects glide smoothly against each other, without resistance. A world where simple actions, like dancing, would be impossible. A world without friction would be dangerous.
Friction is everywhere, and we use it all the time. Like when you slide. The slide is covered in smooth, slippery aluminum, which cuts down on friction and makes you go fast. Rolling is easier than dragging. See, there's a lot of friction between this book and the concrete. But when you put the book on these ball bearings, marbles, the book spins easily. The ball bearings in these wheels are what make skates and skateboards roll. The wheels move around without a lot of friction to slow them down, so you can really go.
We'll be right back with more friction after this break.
When you need to stop, put your foot to the floor and try some brakes today.
We're back.
It's a great day for cycling. You know, it's friction that holds your feet on the pedals, and holds your water bottle in your water bottle case, and holds your pump on the frame, and makes the steering work. And the ball bearings in the wheels lower the friction so you roll easily. And the grease on the chain makes the friction less so you can slip right along. Friction holds the tape on the handlebars, in your gloves, on your hands, and your helmet on your head. There's got to be one more. Oh yeah, brakes, brakes. Hey, that counts.
Bill.
Hey.
First time out, check out.
The friction gives you traction so you can stay on the track and around the turn.
Move it. Move it.
Bowling is all about friction. See, even though the bowling alley is smooth and the bowling ball is smooth, there's still friction. They're still sticking together. You can see it if you push a bowling ball like this. See how it sticks? That's because it's sliding on the floor. But since a bowling ball is round and it's sticking to the floor, when you push it, it starts to roll. It's not sliding, and that lowers the friction. Just imagine bowling with something that wasn't round, something that didn't roll, like a square bowling ball.
Mr. Nye choosing his lucky ball, and here he goes. He really needs this one. Really needs it. Really.
To get something as big and heavy as a train moving, we use friction. See, a friction with the train wheels against the track is how a train gets traction. See? Traction. Coincidence? I don't think so. I mean, you'd think you'd want as little friction as possible between a train wheels and the track so it would go along easily, but you have to have some friction, otherwise we couldn't even get the train moving in the first place. The train wheels wouldn't stick to the rails at all. Without the train wheels sticking, there wouldn't be any traction, and hey, wait up!
My name is Paul. Molecular ball.
When you're walking around in the air, you can feel the air, but you don't feel any friction. But if you're in a spacecraft going, say, 30,000 kilometers an hour, re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, as these guys were in Apollo 17, there's a lot of friction. The air is rubbing on the spacecraft so fast that it actually heats up. This whole side of it became red hot. This is the Apollo 17 heat shield, and you can see where parts of it were actually burned away, all because of friction. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's cool now, but it was really hot.
You expect me to talk, friction finger?
No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to burn.
Friction is a fact of life, so living things have found ways to deal with it. For example, fish are smooth and slippery, so they can slide through the water. That's how they cut friction. Whoa. And then our joints have pads and fluid in them to cut friction, to reduce wear and tear on our bones. And crickets make their songs with friction. Their wings have a file part and a scraper part. And when they rub them together, they get a nice musical sound. Oh, that is nice. That's very nice.
I'm Ingrid Olson, and for many years I've been studying these beautiful slugs. One of the wonderful things about them is that they make mucus all over the body. This mucus not only serves to attach the slug to my finger or to anything else it's walking on, but it also reduces the friction between the animal's body and the ground. But if you were to try to crawl along the ground and you didn't have any mucus to put out between you and the ground, you would probably find it very uncomfortable and it might scrape your arms and legs. You'd be much better off if you could put out a layer of mucus the way the slug does. Mucus is remarkable because it's both sticky and slippery at the same time. If it wasn't slippery, the slug couldn't move. But without friction, the slug would fall right off this glass plate. Slugs, they're science. They use friction. They're cool.
This is a wind tunnel. It's where scientists measure the friction from thin air. See, when air molecules bump into things like airplanes, they have friction. That's why airplanes have such smooth shapes to reduce drag. You ready? This is a model of a supersonic plane that may be flying one day. It's very important to make the air flow over it smoothly, because the less smooth the flow, well, the more energy, the more fuel we're gonna need to make it go where we want it to go. Isn't that cool? Fish travel through water. They face the same problems as trucks and planes going through air. They want to cut friction. So if we can make trucks shaped like fish, boy, then we really have something to see, because there's less drag. The air flows over the fish and it comes to back and doesn't spin or swirl or tumble. It's much better that way.
Try this friction experiment. Poke a hole through the end of a box. Then thread a balloon through the hole, so it'll look like this. Then get some straws and make a pathway. It'll look something like that. Now blow up the balloon and twist the end so that it's really tight. Now put the balloon and the box on the straws and let it go. The straws reduce the friction and act like rollers so the box moves. It's boss. Try it.
Science!
Listen to my voice and rubs against another, like a comb across the head of your older brother. It slows down things that might be moving fast. It works in this silent liquid gas. When things touch, when things meet, friction happens, make some heat. One thing about friction that can't be beat changes energy of motion into heat. Just rub two sticks together, then you'll see they're going to be warmer than they used to be. And now you know friction is really nifty. Without it, every surface would be slippery. When things touch, when things meet, you know that means friction happens. You make some heat. When things touch, when things meet, friction happens. Make some heat. Just got to make some heat.
Well, that's our show. Thanks for watching. If you'll excuse me, I've got some elastomeric tractive effort to induce. Hey, find them, don't grind them. Ah, yeah, it's friction. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, yeah, no problem. See ya.
Produced in association with the National Science Foundation.
That was really good. See, skates. Slide. As shown.
A world without friction would be dangerous.
Such a friction of